Stuck at the crossroads, I will find you. Flee in the dusk, I will find you. Anywhere you go, I will find you. Do nothing at all, I'm right behind you. Growing up mixed race in England, I've always felt confused on where I fit in. So I went to talk to some people about their experiences as people of colour.
I'm Jaden, I'm 19 years old, I'm from Colchester and I'm mixed with Ugandan and British. I identify myself as black.
And why do you think that is?
Because I've been accepted more by them my whole life.
Okay, and why do you think that white people necessarily wouldn't accept you?
Because, I don't know, I feel like it's because they're feeding information by other people, so that's just the way they think.
Alright, and do you think the place that you live affects this?
Definitely, 100%.
Why do you think? Because we live in a rural town.
Yeah, because there's not many cultured people in this town, so if they're not around many people like that, so they think what the news tells them, they don't think what they experience. But yeah.
Alright, and how do you think, is it hard being of mixed heritage?
I think it's very hard. It's like being in between two people fighting, and like you've got both sides in your family, so you don't know what side to pick really. So
you never feel like you fit in?
Sometimes I feel like I don't fit in, but I'd always try to make myself fit in to one or the other, so it's fine.
So is it a challenge to be yourself because you feel like you have to change yourself to fit in?
Yeah, sometimes I do feel that, yeah. But it is what it is.
Just gonna get on with it.
Yeah.
Colour surrounds me, colour defines me. Stuck in the midst like poison ivy. Colour leave me, colour drain me. At least this way you cannot pain me. After my talk with Jaden, I wanted to find out what it was like to come to this country as an immigrant, so I travelled to London to speak to my dad and his girlfriend. How was life when you moved here from Uganda?
When I first came to the UK, life was really, should I say, hard for black people or foreign people, so-called foreign people. But you know.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's obviously was an identity kind of crisis. Even though I was already British, I didn't feel like I belonged here.
Was that because you're the only one? Or?
Not just that. It's just because of the colour. So you didn't feel like you belonged here. And I came at a time when there was a recession. And I remember working in a factory, and this white man telling me, oh, people coming to take our jobs, and our grandparents fought in the wars and stuff, and you can't just coming to take our jobs. And I reminded him that my grandfather actually fought for this country as well.
See, in saying that, Anthony, I didn't feel like that when I came.
Really?
Because you're talking from the racial
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
I didn't feel it.
Mm.
I felt it was hard, but mainly because the culture was different for me.
Okay.
The weather was different for me. I didn't have friends. But in terms of like race, I didn't experience that.
No, I did.
Say.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel.
I think it's the time when I came. Because when I came in '92, there was like a recession, and people were a bit fed up. And every time there's a recession, people tend to blame foreigners, if you notice.
Scapegoat.
Yeah. They always find a reason. So it was a really bad time. I came in 91. And that recession lasted, so people were a bit negative about foreigners and things like that. So you always felt like there was that element.
Because everyone would turn and look at you and I think them days it was still closed in. People weren't really mixing well with the whites.
But then having said that, in London there were a lot more black people then when I came. So you'd think when I was with the black community, that was fine. But we felt like there was safety in numbers because you had to be all together, kind of thing. But when I went to Colchester, where there were more white people, again, it was kind of a reverse. But I got friendly people, and it just depended, really. It just depended. So, it just depends.
You know what? I guess like any, I don't know what person going to a closing country, say, I don't know, not China, somewhere closed in. I presume they feel the same way as someone from Africa or black person coming to the UK. Say, you know where you went in Thailand, say the villages, the white man went in there. I don't know in Uganda, actually, I don't know what the experience when you went to Uganda, where they look at you like, and they're like, oh, who's this? So similar when you black people first came in here,
get that kind of, although white people or light skinned people tend to be more welcome in Africa or third world countries than the other way around. They tend to be. They tend to be. But,
amongst black people.
They look at you.
They say that apple don't fall far from the tree, don't fall farther than me. They were all marching and freeze, armed to the teeth. Actions speak louder than words, broken the curse. Colour is illusion, colour is confusion.
I'm Brandon on CT, I'm 21 and I'm from Colchester, Essex.
Alright, my first question to ask you is how would you identify yourself?
I identify myself as a black male, even though society tells me I'm white, black, African. Society doesn't really see me as white, so I only really identify with the black side at this moment in time.
Okay, and so you kind of answered the second question. How do you think society would see you? Can you elaborate?
Society sees me as an aggressor, society sees me as intimidating, society sees me mainly as a thug. I'm not really ever called out on my white side I'm quite a big person, so more time I'm seen as an aggressive person, even though really and truly, as my friends know me, I'm a softie.
Okay, so like, you feel that they see you as this person when really you never get the chance to show who you really are. It's just
Yeah, I don't really have a chance to make a first impression, because as soon as I walk in the door, someone's already made an impression of me before I even open my mouth. Like, I work in a pub, so a lot of white geezers come in, and the first thing they'll say to me is, "Cool, you're fucking massive, ain't ya? Bet you know how to handle yourself," and that shit like that. So they've already made a prejudgment without even getting to know me or me even serving them their drink. So
yeah. And how do you think it was, let's say, 20 years ago, before you maybe were born, with your parents being an interracial couple? How do you think society viewed them?
society viewed them as an abnormality. Like, my dad told me that when he used to walk with my mum in town, my mum used to get comments like checkerboard chicken, things like that, from all the way back in the 60s that people used to say. And like, racist people were obviously a lot more open to be racist, because there was no punishment for it. It was just normality to be racist. It was abnormal if you got along with black people. So
Okay, and in contrary to that, how do you see society moving forwards in, let's say, another 20 years?
I feel like being mixed race at the moment is kind of the fashion. I mean, as in kids wise, most kids these days are mixed race. Most kids are not pure white, pure black. Most kids are mixed with something. So I see the future being mixed race, in my opinion.
Yeah. And how do you think it was, let's say, 20 years ago, before you maybe were born, with your parents being an interracial couple? How do you think society viewed them?
Society viewed them as an abnormality. Like, my dad told me that when he used to walk with my mum in town, my mum used to get comments like checkerboard chicken, things like that, from all the way back in the 60s that people used to say. And like, racist people were obviously a lot more open to be racist, because there was no punishment for it. It was just normality to be racist. It was abnormal if you got along with black people. So
Okay, and in contrary to that, how do you see society moving forwards in, let's say, another 20 years?
I feel like being mixed race at the moment is kind of the fashion. I mean, as in kids wise, most kids these days are mixed race. Most kids are not pure white, pure black. Most kids are mixed with something. So I see the future being mixed race, in my opinion.
Have you yourself had any personal experiences with being racially attacked or judged because of your colour?
I mean, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, well, I feel like I don't know a single black person, mixed race person that hasn't in my, like, to be honest, that's in my life anyway. I know that I have, actually that's a lie. I have some friends that went to majority black schools that they were never racially abused at school, but outside of school they did get racially abused. But when I was in primary school, it happened a lot more frequently than it did when I was in secondary school. And that's because I feel like that behaviour is learned. Do you know what I mean? So like, a lot of people at home, their parents were on, when there was a black guy on the TV saying that stupid nigger, that brownie, that chocolate this and chocolate that. Like, so when I was in school, a lot of people, I had a nickname, Brownie. Do you know what I mean? And like, when I told my dad that, he was fuming. He told me, don't ever take that from no white man. Told me straight up, because I didn't think it was offensive, because I didn't know nothing. And racism had never come up in my family, even though I am half white. My family have always been very accepting. My mum's sisters also, her older sisters also dated majority black men. So it's just normality in my household for racism not to be a topic. So when I got to school and I did experience it, it was a shock for me. I didn't know how to react. I didn't know that it was a negative thing, because nothing like that had ever happened to me before. So then you get to secondary school and you learn, and now you understand what racism is, because you've been taught by school what racism is, and now people use racism as a weapon against you. So you'll be in school, and now white people have been taught that nigger's so negative and it hurts so much when you call a black person a nigger, that they'll go out of their way to use that in an argument with you just to get you to react funny. I was always taught from that first experience that I had in primary school that you should never let a white man call you a nigger or call you a brownie or call you chocolate darling or anything like that. I think there are certain situations where they do think it's a joke. I know that sometimes when it comes in music, people don't register that they're actually that, because of how the rappers say it, like my nigga is a positive thing. Your white friends will now want to call you my nigga, but listen, I'm not your nigga because I'm not a fucking slave, and you're not about to call me your slave. So like, it comes different when a white man says it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of the connotation it has. At the end of the day, at the moment, black people are fashion. Black people are the culture, and white people come and they want the fashion and the culture, and they come and receive it from us. And whether they use the word nigga or not, they want to follow this nigga fashion and this nigga style.